Hello there, it's Alina from XM8 Mastery here, and today I'd like to talk about distributing market conditions. It's riveting stuff, don't fall asleep on me. It really is important to know what happens when you do distribute and when you don't. So I had some people from the pricing department come out to our Exactware certification training last week that we had here in Salt Lake City. I hosted the training for the level 3 certification group, and we had the pricing department come and speak and answer some of my questions, and it was awesome. So I have some really good information for you on the bid items and hand entering pricing when you want to change a price on something. This will kind of be part one of the price change issue. I'm going to talk about more about the actual components next week, but I want to talk about the bid items themselves first here in this video. So let's take a look at how we would distribute market conditions and what exactly that means in Xactimate. So here I am in Xactimate. I'm under estimate items here, and I've added an item to my roofing section called the RFG bid item. So I'm just going to select that there. I've already added it as a copper dormer. Went ahead and changed the price here by just clicking on this price button. Normally when you're dealing with a line item, it just has the item image, but when you click on the price button here, it brings you to the unit price tab over to the right, where you can edit that replacement price, no problem. So the problem that I do have is that there's no sales tax showing on my bid item. And if I went ahead and figured that into the price here and changed the price maybe to $1,080 or whatever it would be, $1,050, $50 here, something like that, it won't show up on my sales tax section of my summary page, which could really throw things off if I'm trying to match apples for apples with the adjuster. So if he adds as a bid item on his end. So I wanted to make sure that we got this sales tax issue straightened out. So there's a couple things I want you to know. First of all, I have my distribute market conditions turned off right now. Okay, so just for any of those of you who are like, turn on your distribute market conditions, it'll do it. That's a fine fix, but I'll show you here in a second why I don't have mine turned on, all right? So those of you who don't know what market conditions are, do not worry. I will show you in just one second. So what I want to do to address that sales tax issue is go into the little I here, and I'm going to assign, let's say, I'm going to take out the $1,000. It sits in the market conditions section right here, which is why there's no sales tax on it, guys, is because there's they don't figure that on the market conditions if I have them turned off. So what I'm going to do is put $800 in material and maybe $200 in labor that I saw in the estimate. That'll make my replace price the $1,000 there. Left click OK to accept that changes. Now notice that my sales tax still isn't there until I left click OK on the line item itself. Then it will figure that tax. So I believe it's taking tax on material only there, which is what I wanted to do. I'll show you here in a second why if you have it doing it automatically and adding the sales tax, it could skew your material versus your labor being taxed. So that's what I would do usually, is just change it there in the line item. As you can see, the RFG or any bid item or MISC line item is not any different, except for it looks like the RFG bid item, this one here with the selector code bid item, that it will report back to exact analysis as a price change. See how it's in green? Usually that means it's going to be an exact analysis flag. And I think a couple versions back there was like a little asterisk that would come in whenever you change something like the description here. So that might be the only difference between the two. As far as I asked the pricing department, they said there is not much of a difference other than this might be this exact analysis flag. So just wanted to confirm that they should be pretty much the same, except for this one would send up, if you completed your estimate, it would send up a price change flag to the exact analysis from what I can tell. If you know any different, let me know. But that's what I'm surmising from those letters being in green. It's going to flag, actually, it looks like the description as a change because I don't see the unit price in green. So that's interesting. Just a side note, what the differences you're seeing here on my screen and which one's best for you to use. So we'll go in here. We have the category RFG, selector code MISC line item. Go to the replace price, and we're going to go in that I again. Take it out from the distribute market conditions here. And we're going to put it just right back like this. into the same as the other bid item. So you can see, left click OK, it's exactly the same from what I learned from the pricing department. Now, some of you like to turn on your distribute market conditions. So let me show you what that does. Since I've added these line items, and I'm now going to turn on the distribute market conditions, it will not affect these line items, because when you change a preference, like what I'm just going to do in just a second, it only is only going forward. It is not retroactive. So these line items will stay here and not be affected by the distribute market conditions I'm about to set up. So I'm going to go back over to the claim info main tab. I'm going to go over to parameters subtab. And here under the price list, you'll see distribute market conditions is what I'm looking for. Distribute market conditions. I'm going to check that off. I'm going to go back over to estimate items. I'm going to add these items again and show you what the difference is now that I have my market conditions turned on. I'm going to go ahead and put that replace price of 1,000 in there. I am then going to left click OK. And let's put in here, actually I'm not going to put anything in here so in the description so you can see the difference. So it already exists. That is fine. Left click OK. Notice that the description is not in green because I didn't change the description. So I just want to show you, to kind of drive that home, how it's a little bit different than the MISC line item. The other thing I want you to see is that it does have sales tax, but look how low it is compared to my other line item. That's because it's distributing the market conditions itself. So if I go into the I here, it's distributing this much for material and this much for labor. However, that's not true to my actual bid item. I had a lot more material and not so much in labor. So what pricing told me is they usually put 59% if you distribute the market condition. It auto calculates 59% for labor and 41% for material across the board. That's what pricing said on all bid items. That's how it's going to be distributed. I'm going to left click OK, and let's add that miscellaneous line item just to do a comparison. I love comparing things because I'm a data nerd. So let's just take a look here at what it's going to do with our MISC. I always left click OK out of the line item just so that all the settings are saved. Then we're going to go into the I, and same thing, 59, 41%. So keep an eye on that, guys. If you're not wanting that much swayed over to labor, and 59% labor, 41% material, then you don't want to use the distribute market conditions. Then you'll want to go ahead and go in there and, change this back to what you do want here. If you are using your distribute market conditions, if that is turned on, you can go ahead and edit that and go back in, and it will correct the sales tax here. But I just wanted to show, don't take it for granted that it's doing the right thing with the sales tax. It always will be that 59-41 spread. I'm going to go in the living room here. I'm going to add a DRY bid item just for fun. Let's make this 500. Now you will see if we go in here, you're going to have the 59-41. So it doesn't matter if it's RFG, DRY, the carpet, FCC, anything that you're going to be using, it's going to distribute that way. So keep that in mind. Just as a side note, whenever you're using the distribute turned on, that you know whether you want it to automatically do it for you or you want to go in there and manipulate it to the actual bid amount, because your sales tax will be affected by that. So that's the main takeaway I got from the distribute market conditions. If I go back to my claim info parameters, I can go ahead and turn that off, and then anything I add going forward would allow me to affect it myself and would have no sales tax attached until I went into the I and turned the material to where it should be, and then the labor to where it should be. Now what's interesting, guys, it just caught my eye. Look when I added that P&T bid item, it did flag the price change. So that's interesting over here. It might be something in my system. I'm not sure why the RFG didn't do it. I am in X1, so they are making some changes. I should be on the most recent update version, but let's just, again, I love to compare things. So category P&T, selector code MISC. Let's go ahead and change this one too and see if it records the price change. It does not. So that's the difference between the bid item and the MISC item. I can see it might report your description and your unit price change back to exact where with the bid item as a flag in exact analysis. Excuse me, that's what I should have said. So adjusters might not like to use that so much if they don't want their estimate being flagged for a file reviewer. Possibly this could be one of those issues. So if you have any thoughts on that price that's in green or the description that's in green, we asked a lot of questions of those pricing guys that came into the certification class. So this is not one thing that I remember to ask them was about the flagging. So if you have any insight, or if you're someone who has to report through exact analysis, let me know what experience you've had with the flagging of the pricing or the description going through the system. So that's distribute market conditions. You use it as you will, whether you like it turned on or turned off. Those are the differences that I can see. If you like this topic on pricing, be sure to like this video so I know to make more videos like this in the future. Also share this with any contractor or adjuster that could use this information and understand how to affect that sales tax with that distribute market conditions. My name is Alina Wilson with XM8 Mastery. For more information on my training for contractors, visit our website at xm8mastery.com. Hope you guys have a really great week in your business, and I will see you next week.